Hey guys, this is Fight Commentary Breakdowns here, and this is probably going to go on Fight Commentary Chats, but we have Andrew here. Andrew from Tai Chi, pretty cool tongue twister, and from Circulation Solutions. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Jerry. How are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, man. I just trained a little Muay Thai, had some good sparring, and it's sunny here. I changed up my room now, so there's more sun. So, I feel very blessed. Andrew, tell me about what you drew. What is that logo?
Oh, well, everyone recognizes this as the yin-yang symbol, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually called Tai Chi, the Tai Chi 2. And so I think it's a great building block for going off martial arts, especially Chinese martial arts. I mean, so much of it is influenced deeply by just this symbol.
Yeah.
Studying the symbol and trying to understand it and all the implications of the symbol. Of course, the I Ching, the Bagua, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the Tai Chi symbol, and I'm a Tai Chi Chuan practitioner.
I see. And how long have you done Chinese martial arts / martial arts in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I started with this great school in San Diego called Jing Institute of Chinese Martial Arts and Culture.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually learn Chinese language there as well.
Wow.
But they were a wonderful studio, great teachers. Started out with Tai Chi as my primary, and we also got to do Wushu with coaches they brought over from China, like straight out of the Wushu schools. And so I was doing Tai Chi, Wushu, and I got to do Wing Chun. I got exposed to some Japanese martial arts at the school, like they brought in Bujinkan. So I was like, oh, ninjutsu, I've always wanted to try this since I was a kid, right? So I got exposed to that. And then I went to college, did karate, but I always kept practicing my Tai Chi. And then graduated, got a job up in LA, and did Kyokushin karate for a number of years. But every single day I did Tai Chi, and I taught Tai Chi classes at the Kyokushin studio.
Nice.
So that was pretty fun. Yeah, I had two senior students, 72 and 75. They came in on walkers, and when I had to leave the school, they were walking without any aids. So that's why I love Tai Chi, because it literally heals you. Yeah. It brings back the things that we've lost, because when you stop working out at 35 and you're just like, I'm done, I'm gonna watch TV and go to my office job. And then at 60, you're like, man, my back bothers me, my shoulder sucks, all that stuff, because you're not moving. Yeah. So Tai Chi is one of those great exercises that you can do for your whole life.
Yeah. And a way I would love to describe Tai Chi is, in even many like combat sports martial arts, you need what are called stabilizer muscles, right? And what Tai Chi is really good at, because you're doing it slow, you're literally building stabilizer muscles and joint and etc. all over your body. So for health, I think Tai Chi is one of the best things for anyone to do, not just senior, so to speak, which it seems to be stereotyped as, but just anyone. Like, I probably will start doing Tai Chi more too, because one of the things we do, since my coach also has, he has a very traditional martial arts background, despite the fact that he's now MMA, but we practice a lot of these kicks in like slow motion. It almost looks like we're doing Tai Chi, but what it's doing, it's developing exactly like that. So we're literally building up a lot of these stabilizer muscles. We're learning to activate the muscles that need to be activated all the way. Because a lot of times what happens is we have imbalances, we have, certain things, and we can get away with that because, we'll just favor a certain muscle group or whatever. But eventually, and not eventually, I don't want to make it seem like an inevitability, but it makes injuries easier.
Yeah.
So
when you sacrifice structure so that you can pull off something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in a fight. So one of the things I love about your channel is all these fun fights. And every time I see guys doing jump kicks, I'm just like, it's just time. It's just time before someone reads that and lands a punch right in their face as they're landing.
Yeah. So. Exactly. So right now, do you teach Tai Chi as a full-time thing, or is it kind of more a part-time thing?
Yeah, well, my dream is to transition completely, but no, I have a day job, and I teach about 3 classes a week, every week, and then I've been recently just picked up some more classes where I'm teaching to a rehab clinic.
Ooh.
So doing Zoom lessons for a rehab clinic. So it's pretty cool. It's working. It's just COVID. Before COVID, I was doing pretty well. About $1,000 a month from just doing Tai Chi after work, but COVID ruined a lot of that, so I lost a lot of my contracts. So I had to rebuild. So I'm coming back.
Yeah. Are you thinking of doing online courses or stuff like that?
So actually, at Tai Chi, we have started a online learning community through Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't checked out Enlightenment, they have some amazing stuff on there. Besides us, we're awesome, but
Mm-hmm.
they have some other great stuff on there. So we were teaching Qigong primarily, and then as someone moves to the Qigong and really understands it, then we can start introducing Tai Chi principles.
I
And
see.
more like long forms. Forms are so difficult to teach, right?
Yeah.
Especially like this. Let me show you the form, and let me try and correct you by seeing like how your elbow is bent. It's
Mm-hmm.
really difficult. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid like the copycat kind of teaching. I
Yeah,
want to do more
exactly.
like audio instruction, and you have to feel it out, but I teach you how to feel it out through the computer.
I think that's so important because a lot of, like exactly what you said, a lot of times you have to make it work for your own body, right? And I think a common criticism we get sometimes of traditional martial arts is that we're trying to make the body fit the art. But I think as science and stuff comes to support some of these arts, we start realizing, no, like everyone moves differently. Everyone looks differently. Everyone does things differently. So if you can't do it this way, do it in a way that it still works with the principle of whatever move or whatever action, but make it so your body doesn't hurt doing it.
Yeah, we have this thing we like to tell people called the pleasure principle. While you're practicing Tai Chi, Qigong, you should feel pleasure. You shouldn't be in pain. And if you are, either tell us about it, but check yourself, try and figure out where that pain's coming from and find the right alignment, find how you can relax that area. Very important to not be in pain while you're practicing. Even when you're exercising, we always say no pain, no gain, but there's a difference between, man, my muscles are really aching right now versus like, oh my God, my shoulder, my rotator cuff is jacked. What am I doing? Big difference there. So don't push through anything where it's like sharp pains every time you do a certain move. You'll eventually, there's a whiplash effect. Eventually you'll come back and you'll be out for 6 months because of that.
That adage of no pain, no gain, I think needs to be modified, right? It's like no soreness, no gain or something. But pain is not the right word because there are, like you said, sharp pains or numbing pains. Those are probably, you got to be careful, right? But so, yeah, I agree with you. Like soreness is awesome, but definitely be careful of pain, right? And it's also, I'm not trying to be alarmist. Sometimes pain is also soreness. Soreness sometimes feels like pain, right? Especially in an area of your body where it's not used to soreness. It might actually, the nerves will just kind of like fire all crazy, and then it tenses up the rest of the body, the surrounding muscles, and suddenly it becomes painful. Even though it started out as like soreness, or maybe it started out as a knot in the muscle or something. So yes, I qualify what I said, but it definitely, no pain, no gain is an adage that needs to be qualified.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And as you were saying, you just came from Muay Thai practice. I know Muay Thai is pretty tough on the body. What kind of things do you do when you're not in practice to heal yourself? Do you massage?
I can actually show you one thing real quickly.
Okay.
But one of the major things I do besides what I'm about to show you is I do a lot of stretching. Honestly, a lot's not the right word, but I stretch the areas of my body that need stretching. And then, because, overstretching, I mean, there's nothing wrong with overstretching, but there's areas of my body that need stretching because it's kind of tight. So I can actually, let me show you real quickly. But before I show you that, something else I do is, and anyone that follows my channel knows this, I'm obsessed with it, is neck exercises. Because one of the areas of imbalance, besides, the usual stuff that most martial artists, most combat sports athletes don't even worry about until it's too late, is the neck. So I do a lot of neck exercises. I do a lot of upper back exercises. Basically, these are things because, combat sports, there's a lot of activation of the front side of the body, right? Jiu-jitsu is even worse, man. There's not even just this, but the heads. So you have to rebalance yourself out. And it took 2 injuries for me to realize that I had such a neck imbalance. So I do a lot of neck exercises. The thing I always give people is the first thing to learn is how to chin tuck. How to tuck your chin, give yourself a double chin, because most people are so imbalanced. If I tell them to do this, you know what they're going to do? They're like that. So they don't even have the muscles to tuck horizontally back. You see. So chin tucks are so important. And then once you learn the chin tucks, then once you can do this, then you can start doing this, you know. These are called neck extensions. So you can start, because most people, if they don't learn to tuck the chin, you know what happens? They're already imbalanced. Their head's already forward, and then they try to do the extension. So you're not achieving a balance doing the neck extension, right? If you're like this and you go like that, if I showed you a profile, so check this out.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm not tucking my chin, so if I'm like this and I do an extension, my head's still forward, right? So you have to tuck the chin first before you go do the extension. So these are just things that I've kind of learned as I balanced myself, and I worked with a physical therapist. Very big shout out to Nick Davis, who kind of taught me a lot of this stuff. So I probably do way more neck exercises than any other muscle group in my body, which is kind of funny. But you know, it's what I figured I need, and so that's the major thing. And then let me show you real quickly what I started incorporating 2 weeks ago.
All right.
So again, he's not paying me to do this. I just really like this. And the reason why I vouch for this is because, do you hit pads?
Yeah.
So when you hit pads, right, do you ever feel it in the back of your head? Because Newton's third law, right, the force you exert goes back to you. Do you ever feel in the back of your neck or the head?
Not in a long time. I think I did when I was a lot younger, and I was, kind of reckless when I hit pads. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So I would always kind of feel it, especially throwing elbows and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So what I started using was called the shoulder flex. So what this is doing, it's training your rotator cuff muscles. So it's a rotator cuff training. So now basically I'm able to activate my rotator cuff much more. So the rotator cuff kind of, when you activate your rotator cuff correctly, I guess it like puts a lot of the muscle groups in right activation, right? It's all connected. Mm-hmm. So now when I throw an elbow or, I throw a hook or even uppercuts and stuff like that, somehow the force is being absorbed differently through my body. So it doesn't travel up to my back of my neck, my head. So that's so almost every day. In fact, later on, I'm probably going to do some exercises with this, but I do this every day. Basically what you're doing is you're spinning the inside ball. And when you spin the inside ball, holding it in this position, it activates all four of your rotator cuff muscles.
Oh.
So yeah. So basically, long story short, neck exercises, rotator cuff exercises, and upper back exercises, and knee exercises, because I had like a knee imbalance from a little injury.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely the knees. Oh man. If you get a knee injury when you're young, you're going to notice it when you're older.
Yeah. And that's why I said this year in 2020, a lot of things aren't going right for everyone, but I'm going to fix my knee. And thank goodness, with help from my physical therapist, Nick Davis, I fixed my knee. Like my knee doesn't hurt anymore after practice. So I can just kind of do some of this while we talk. If it gets distracting, just let me know.
No, it doesn't bother me. That's really interesting though. That's an interesting little device. Cool. Yeah, one of the things that I love about Tai Chi, one of the first things we do is body alignment. And we teach the student how to find their own alignment and how to rest on their bones instead of constantly using your muscles to keep yourself balanced. Yeah. I see a lot of people doing this when they're just standing. They're just constantly shifting back and forth because they can't find their center and just relax. Yeah.
What other exercises do you do to keep yourself kind of in alignment / balance, etc.?
Yeah, totally, man. Thanks. So I've been on calisthenics because of COVID. Before COVID, I was doing Orange Theory Fitness, which is a great workout. Love that place. I lost 80 pounds there. But yeah, calisthenics. So push-ups, sit-ups, squats. I just got Olympic rings, so I'm going to put those on some trees and do some more training. But yeah, I love just body weight exercises. I think is all you need. People make it really complicated and, oh my God, I need $1,000, $2,000 worth of training equipment, maybe even more. A lot of people build their whole gym and have lots of heavy weights. And that's, if you want to get really thick, that's fine. But there's a lot, you don't need that stuff. Calisthenics, I've seen some amazing gymnasts that are basically pure calisthenics workouts. And then I've seen some great videos on YouTube where these trainers are talking about the calisthenics workouts, and they're talking about the different things you can do and teaching you the movements, and a lot about how to align your body so you're not in pain while you're doing the movements either, because that's incredibly important.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, look at this neck. This neck used to be a pencil neck. I didn't put any weight on it. It was all body weight. It's all body weight, right? And the beauty is you have gravity. There's gravity as a natural weight and your body weight. So yeah, I agree with you. I think when I was younger, my excuse would always be, oh, I didn't have a gym, you know, especially in high school, right? I would try to work out, and I didn't have a high school. I didn't have a high school. I didn't have a gym. So I would, like, never work out. I was so skinny. And then I guess one day when you realize, oh, there's a lot of great exercise you can do if you just like gravity work it. You can actually, like, there's a lot of great things you can do at home. Like you said.
Definitely, sure. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was the difference between like old thousands of years of martial arts ago and how it's developed up to now. Mm-hmm. So in your videos, you're showing a lot of one-on-one fights, a lot of like, I'm stuck in this ring until the ref lets me out, basically. Yeah. That's, you know, not real martial arts. That's not what this was for. Survival, winning wars, that's the point of martial arts. So let me hear what's one of your favorite books about martial arts?
Wow, that's a hard one. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. But
well, let me recommend two books to you. Mm-hmm. So the first book is Tzu Art of War, mm-hmm. which, you know, he literally says this is martial arts. So martial arts, art of war is the same thing. And then Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings.
Five Rings, yeah.
That is such an amazing book. Of course, it's tough to understand, right? You read these kind of old books and it's like, that language is cryptic. I don't really get it. There's a lot of concepts that you only understand through training. And one of the things that Musashi says, the way is in training. It's not, you're not going to learn martial arts from reading a book or watching someone do it. If you're not practicing it, you'll never figure it out. You'll never understand what they're doing or how they're moving, how their muscles are activating, how the breathing is incredibly important, right?
Yes.
If you're not breathing with your movements, you're fighting yourself.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to do that. You need to learn how to control your breath. And that's the principal skill in Qigong. So ancient martial arts, right? Martial arts developed because we had to defend ourselves from brigands and from, you know, that 10,000 guys on the other side of the battlefield. They're coming right towards you. So you better know what you're doing. And I always find it, I love the videos from Xu Xiaodong, where he goes and beats up all these a little bit older Kung Fu and Tai Chi guys, and like I think is he fighting Japanese guys? I haven't seen any of those, but there's a lot of those guys too. I love that old video of that old man who waved his hand trying to fight the MMA guy.
Yeah, he did the kind.
Okay. Yeah. Done. So that stuff, obviously, it's not magic. You know, martial arts is not the key to the mystical realm. It's still the training and still the conditioning, but the field has changed. When we get into a one-on-one ring, it's a very different field than the old days when, well, I have a quan dao, you know, like a big giant pole arm, and I'm swinging this at a horse. You're not doing that anymore. So martial arts has changed quite a lot since then. And I had a great interview a little bit back where we got onto the topic of, you know, seeing these Chinese martial artists get their asses beat all the time. And the guy I was talking with, man, I can't remember his name right now, but he was saying, yeah, these martial arts, they were made for the battlefield. They were made to be fought like with 3 people to your left and 3 people to your right, and you're all protecting each other. So it's not like I'm going to sit here and deflect and punch. You know, that wasn't what martial arts was. It was shield, stab, survive the day. So, and we don't train martial arts the same as they did. You know, martial arts was a necessity of life, where now it's a hobby. For some people, it's a career, but for the most of us, it's a hobby. And I love the traditional martial arts, and I love practicing and sharing them. But man, people get really upset when it comes to fighting. And what is the best style? Have you figured out what the best style is? No, it's all about the fighter, their own training, their understanding of the competition that's going to come up and their understanding of the other fighter. And whoever does the most research, they usually win. You know, lack of strategy leads to a lot of poor events, poor outcomes. So one thing I really like is the skill of strategy. That was one of the traditional skills that all people should learn. So did you play chess when you were young?
Yes, I play chess, but I was never good at it. But I definitely play chess along with most people, both Chinese chess and international chess.
Ah, cool, cool. Yeah, one of the great things about chess is it teaches the kid, because usually you learn when you're young, it teaches you how to think about getting to a goal that's not necessarily easy. You have to go about it in many different ways. There's different experiments you do, and that's why you have to play at 10,000 games to become good. You need that experience. And that's what's great about, I loved chess when I was growing up, and I was also a huge video game nerd, and that really helped playing a lot of strategy games, back to the old RTS games. Yeah, strategy is important.
Yeah, totally. I love what you said earlier, too, about, I think, a lot of where the combat sports and a lot of where the modern kind of quote-unquote effective martial arts go wrong is they assume that that's how people fought back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, most formations, you had people around you protecting your side, right? So, and most times weapons, like you said, shields, etc. So that will change how martial arts are fought, and that'll change how soldiers are trained, right? You know, if you're in formation, you're probably not throwing kicks and stuff like that, right? You throw a kick, So that in itself, and then also, like you said, there's not like 3 minutes. Okay, we fight for 3 minutes. Sometimes I know in ancient China, probably in ancient Greece too, and I'm sure different sort of Bronze Age and Iron Age civilizations had this, where they'd be like, okay, well, just one person fight. Let's fight for 2 minutes, and if you win, our whole army doesn't have to slaughter each other. We just say we lose, right? Sometimes it does happen like that. In Chinese, it's called dan tiao. And I'm sure there's like words in Greek for, remember when Achilles fought Hector and stuff like that? There's words for that. But the point is, that's not usually how it's fought, right? Usually it wasn't like, oh yeah, 3 minutes, let's fight it out. It's even if you were attacked in the street, it's like, do you fight him for 3 minutes, or you try to like hit him with a move and run, or hit him with a move and kill him, right? There was a Jet Li interview that I translated back in the day on my channel. That's what Jet Li said. He's like, you should be a career. You train martial arts for 10 years, get good at it, you become a bodyguard, you become a police officer, or you join the army. Now if you train for 10 years to be deadly, they think you have a problem, right? They're probably going to like spy on you and be like, Dad, watch this guy.
Yeah, he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy how we look at martial arts nowadays. So my buddy and I got into a little argument about UFC. And he was trying to say UFC is possibly for right now, after Pride, I love Pride.
Me too.
But once Pride was gone, UFC is kind of like the principal combat martial art competition in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the evolution of how martial arts have changed since UFC 1 to, what are they on now, 250 or 300?
Something
like that.
martial
martial arts has changed drastically since then. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's still so many traditional martial arts schools out there. Like all these old lineages that they managed to survive this long, so they must have something to offer. Mm-hmm. But Kuk Soon Woo. There's a lot of like traditional Korean martial arts and Japanese martial arts that are just, I never heard of that. I never even read about that. Why don't you show me something? Oh, have you seen Taido? Taido is a very interesting art with the kicks. Like they're doing a lot of, the donkey kick. I love the donkey kick. Yeah, those kind of things are really interesting. You can see the origins of them and learn the history about them, but they're not, obviously modern day practical. Like I said, hobbyists for the most part.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. And even mentioning UFC, one of the things that UFC consistently showed is that some techniques will get vindicated, right? Mm-hmm. Then if some fighter makes it work, and then everyone starts using the technique and fighting like that fighter. And then of course there's also the argument that Pride, for example, let people do soccer kicks and stuff like that. And Lethwei, you can headbutt, and early UFC, you can headbutt too. And the fighting style will adapt to the rules, right?
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
that's a common criticism of the UFC. And, I'm not going to mess with any UFC fighter, but I'm not going to mess with any MMA fighter in general. But there's definitely, it's not going to be completely like what a street encounter is like. First of all, there's a different level of adrenaline, I think, than most people training in MMA gyms. And then when they get into encounter on the street, so the adrenaline will make you forget, even before you even throw your first punch or get hit the first time, you're already going to forget like 99% of your techniques. But second of all, on a street encounter, there might be multiple people. There might be concrete on the floor. There might be knives and, stuff like that. So these are things that I have some viewers who train that, right? They train with shivs and they train with guns and stuff like that. But that's not the usual training at an MMA gym or a jiu-jitsu gym, right? So definitely these are things to think about. And I'm probably, this talk that we do is going to go out after I put out this talk, or maybe I might put this talk before the talk I'm about to talk about here. So this might be a teaser for the next talk. But I had a jiu-jitsu friend, I think at the time he was a purple belt. So he's a black belt now, but at the time he was a purple belt. And he was in his car, seatbelt in hand, and someone opened his door and started hitting him. You can't use your jiu-jitsu when suddenly you go in and the seatbelt stops you, right? So suddenly he couldn't use his jiu-jitsu, and he never trained a situation where you have your seatbelt on and someone opens your door and punches you in the face. So I showed one of my other audience members that story, and he immediately said, "Oh, we train that all the time. We train what would happen if you need to, fight and you have your seatbelt on, And then me and one of my roommates in the car one day were just like, "Yeah, let's think about this, because you still have the bottom seatbelt here. So even if you pummel the top, the cross seatbelt off, the bottom seatbelt still prevents you from moving too much, right? So you have to first pummel this seatbelt, but then you also have to unbuckle yourself as quick as you can. So it's like you have to practice a motion like this or like this, right? You have to get the cross seatbelt off so it doesn't prevent you, but you also have to, as soon as possible, unbuckle depending on which side you are. So like these are things that jiu-jitsu schools usually don't train. MMA schools usually don't train. Most traditional martial arts schools don't train this. So these are things to think about.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, scenario, just the crazy different scenarios that you could be in.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I loved about my Bujinkan training, was that they would set up weird positions, and they would say, "No, you have to close your eyes or blindfold you, and then just stand there, and then someone's going to put you in a lock, and then you have to find your way out. You have to just feel your way out, find the best way to escape."
Wow.
It's very interesting, and it's nerve-wracking. There was that Krav Maga thing they do for testing, where they put you in the middle, and then there's like 10 people around you, they'll start attacking you. So to really amp up your adrenaline, you're freaking out, you're constantly spinning your head around trying to figure out who's going to be the next guy to attack. And those kind of situations, they're good for preparing you for that kind of thing, but at the same time, it might put too much fear in you. Like one of those things that the cop training. One of the problems with that a lot of people are saying about cops is the training, and it's because a lot of the training is you're in a death situation. You're going to die, and your partner is going to survive, and so sacrifice yourself or be prepared for that guy to pull a gun and just fire. Center of mass as many bullets as you have to. And that stuff, it's terrifying for the general populace, like that idea. But it's a reality that people who live in violent places have to face. One of the things I love about the reason Philippines are so good at knife fighting, stick fighting, not a lot of people have guns in the Philippines, for one thing. Second thing is, you live on these small islands, like Philippines, like 1,000+ islands, and there's no cops, there's no law. This is a real Wild West out there. They even capture spiders and mash them up, and then line their knives with them. So if they get into a fight, they slash the guy one time, and they can run away. They're like, he's dead. I don't have to worry about it. I'll never see him again, because it's so dangerous over there.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I live in San Diego. I'm much safer.
Yeah. Indonesia's the same. Indonesia, it's about, I would say, like 3/4 the size of America, but the difference is it's all ocean with islands, right? So like if you put Indonesia with the ocean and the land together, it's about 3/4 the size of mainland America. but it's like it's all ocean there, so it's like lots of different islands and stuff. And yeah, that's why there's such cool martial arts there too, because these islands probably fight each other, and even the Mongols, I think, tried to like raid parts of that area too. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So one of the things about UFC, like we were talking about, the martial arts molds to the rules.
Yeah.
But we like us in self-defense, we always like, oh, but the streets, bro. Streets. One of my favorite programs I've got a chance to learn was target focus training. You heard of that one? TFT?
Never.
Tim Larkin. Okay, so Tim Larkin and his buddy, I think Chris, anyways, they came up with this system called target focus training. And instead of it's not martial arts in any way. Like you wouldn't call it martial arts as in like a traditional martial art, but it's definitely in the self-defense realm. They look at a fight as it should be 3 to 5 seconds, and you should be aiming to cause a debilitating injury right away. If you're in a violent situation, I don't know what this guy's going to do. I have no idea. Like you said, pull a shiv, pull a knife, pull a gun, a hard weapon. He has brass knuckles, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You have to end the situation as fast as possible because violence cannot be tolerated.
Yeah.
You have to end violence immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about martial arts. Martial arts beats violence. Skill overcomes physical power.
Yeah.
That was the main point.
Yeah.
And that was the great thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that the old Helio Gracie, I think was his name, they would just go out and fight anybody because they were like, well, I have skill so I can beat your strength. You think you're strong and fast, that's okay. I'll just get real small, let you hit me a few times, get in close, and then wrap a joint in my arms and you're done.
Yeah.
Like that's the peaceful way to beat somebody.
Yeah.
And if you can wrestle someone to the ground, awesome. That is like good on you. You protected yourself and you protected them from getting bad injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion, when you're in a violent situation, you can't really think like that. You can't be thinking about protecting the person who's attacking you. And that's why I really like Tim Larkin's idea. It's like, oh, what's exposed? What is the only target that matters is the one I can reach and affect. So they talk about attacking the foot. They attack all the major points of the body, lots of different muscle groups and hinges and joints. Wow. And they focus on just breaking them as fast as possible or damaging organs that cause immediate reactions. Like you hit someone in the stomach in the right way, you can cause them to vomit. And if you can get them to vomit, awesome. I can kick them in the balls and then they choke. Terrible stuff. Stuff you don't want to do to anybody in your life. And so one of the other problems I have with modern combat martial arts, they don't really prepare you for that self-defense moment. They don't put you through the mental exercise of having to defend yourself and having to cause such an injury that you might kill this guy. And how do you deal with that mentally?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Have you experienced any training that really prepares you for that kind of stuff?
I have, but mostly through, interesting enough, people trained in American Kempo. So they've kind of these exercises are given not in Kempo. These are people who train in Kempo who then try to like apply other things to their training. So I'm not gonna say it's Kempo, but there's exercises to get you used to kind of how your body reacts, how your mind reacts to increasingly more escalated types of encounters. So things like that, like how to desensitize yourself, right? Like even training any kind of sparring, when you first start sparring, you're running away from every hit, right? And then eventually you're just like, okay, I can, my head, my brain, et cetera, is strong enough that, especially if your neck is strong, that, oh yeah, a little bit of hits fine. Just as I don't want the knockout hits and the really hard hits, right? So like you have to desensitize yourself to a lot of those things. And like you said, desensitizing yourself to stressful environments is so important, man. Like even socially too, right? Most people don't desensitize themselves to stressful environments. I am, unfortunately, you and I are having a really good conversation, but I had an interview when I first started doing these talks with a viewer, and I still to this day can't watch that interview. So I'm never putting that talk out because it was so awkward. He obviously has never been interviewed before, and he's trying to hide his nervousness, and it just made it look more cringe. And I just can't like watch it. I can't even watch it to edit it. That's how cringe it was. Well, like, like that's another analogous example to a different life situation, but it's the same thing. A lot of times we don't know how we're going to be until we're in that situation, right? But the problem with self-defense is you can't like train gun defense by getting shot at, right? So you have to like do all these drills. I mean, you could maybe, but in the future, once we figure out if you do get shot, how do you like, recover completely, right? But like so like the best then is just exactly like you said. You have to like be trained in a way to kind of flaunt a lot of these responses that will happen in those situations that will be disadvantageous to you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, how much more do you want to go?
We can keep going. This is a cool conversation.
Right,
the other thing, since we're on this, dude, Andrew, I want to really talk about this too. The importance of mouth fu or like talk fu. Just like you can talk yourself out of most situations, right? And that's something not really emphasized in most combat sports gyms, but traditional martial arts, I don't think emphasizes that enough either.
You're definitely
best
right.
fight,
You
win every fight, you don't fight. That's the key. You win every fight, you don't fight, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So like
persuasive speaking.
Yeah, persuasion / like that also goes back to the social thing, the social training we talk about. Like, so what if other people thought you lost? I got into a fight. I learned this early, man, because I was getting into fights all the time as a kid. But one time I got into a fight with a kid, right? And this was in middle school. And at that point, I had already like fought like hundreds of times just because it's the type of kid I was. But I knew enough that this kid was bigger that I didn't want any hit to be landed on me. So you know what? The kid probably threw like 50 to 100 strikes, and he never landed one hit on me.
Wow.
But I didn't hit him back because I was so busy trying to duck, right? So everyone watching, a lot of people watched that fight. They're like, Jerry, you got your ass kicked, man. And I'm like, no, I didn't get my ass kicked. He didn't land any hit on me. But you see, the reason I'm telling this story is because I was always the type of kid, and sometimes I've slid back into the mode, right? But I was always the person who didn't really care what other people thought. But part of it, what I'm trying to get at is the ego, right? If I cared, other people are watching, oh my God, they're going to think this guy's beating me because he's the one throwing the majority of the strikes. Then I might have engaged them and he might have like kicked me real hard or something. But because in that fight, I'm like, it's not about ego. This kid's just angry. I don't want to engage with him because he's bigger. He could probably knock me out. And so I didn't let peer pressure make me do something stupid, which is bang with him directly. So I'm talking about all this because a lot of times, especially in fights that are avoidable, it's the ego. There's people watching. He's like, oh my, I can't look like less of a man. I can't look like this or that in front of people, right? And that's half the reason people fight. Or your girl's like, fight him, man. Come on, show me you're my boy. And like, you're like, oh my God, she's going to get mad at me if I don't fight him. But, in your mind, you should actually be like, shut up, girl. Don't escalate this, right?
I'm breaking up with you right now.
Yeah. But it's not just like persuasion fu or like de-escalation fu. It's also social training. We have to understand when it is time to pick up on social cues because there's a lot of pre-attack indicators, but also when it's time to not pick up on social cues, right? When picking up on social cues is going to make you do something stupid, don't pick up on the social cues. And I don't think I've ever talked about this with anyone ever before in a talk, but it goes with the yin yang symbol, right? It really is the yin yang. Sometimes you need to pick up on social cues, be really diligent because it'll save you. But sometimes you need to learn not to pick up on social cues because it'll save you too.
Yeah. No, I love what you said. You lose or you win 100% of the fights you never fight.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I teach when I teach self-defense, how to escape.
Yeah.
And one of the first things, be aware of your environment, understand yourself and how's your balance and how are you feeling right now.
Yeah.
And then let's teach you how to get the hell out of the situation.
Yeah.
Know where that door is, know where there's a window, that's enough.
Yeah.
Get yourself through it. If you can escape, then you'll be much safer. There's a lot more threats in the world than other people being aggressive or animals being aggressive, of course. Just living in the modern world, we're stuck in these buildings all the time. And if a door gets locked, if the place catches fire, you got to know your escape routes. That's all part of self-defense, in my opinion.
Yes.
Defending yourself against cars. Oh my God, there's cars everywhere. If you're not paying attention, they're going to get you.
Yeah, totally. And so many people. I saw a guy, very muscular guy, but you know what he was doing? He was like running and being on his phone. So not aware of his own body, and then also not aware of his surroundings. So I was just like, wow, dude, that's very smart of you to run. You know, there's a lot of people around. There's cars around. You're on your phone, kind of running, half on your phone. Right? Not self-defense conscious.
One of my favorite compilations are the people texting or playing on their phone and they run into poles.
Yeah, or like fall into a
I'm
manhole
like,
or something.
How did that happen? How you saw it in your peripheral vision, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, they didn't. Yeah. They don't have that peripheral vision. They're sucked into their phone to the point where there is nothing but this moment, this experience. And that's something we got to break.
Totally. And sort of going back to the social training, the stuff that we really kind of like explored, which is awesome. You know, you got to think about certain people are just more aware of danger, and that's not a bad thing, right? Some people could judge you. I've had friends, you know, I'm very, very aware of my surroundings. I have friends like, Jerry, why are you so paranoid? Like, see, if you let that kind of talk affect you, you might like not care as much about your surroundings. And the guy, the BJJ black belt, Adrian, that I brought on my show, that the talk's going to be out sometime, he said it the best. Sometimes it's not about paranoia. It's just you let PTSD kind of like guide you, right? Because the thing is, those people who are asking you why you're so paranoid, they haven't been in situations that you have been. You know, Adrian got attacked in his car. So now, before he ever unlocks his car, he unbuckles his seatbelt. But like, until you get into that situation, I'm going to tell everyone, unlock your car after you unbuckle your seatbelt, but no one's going to listen to me until they get into that situation. Sometimes PTSD is the best indicator. It's the best learning experience, right? Like I never am on my phone unless like I'm purposely trying to troll or something, because one time I was unaware and I almost got robbed, right? So like I let PTSD kind of teach me. Don't be like, even if you're kind of like out of it, don't be out of it on the street. Go home and then be out of it. If you're on the street, you be aware.
Yeah. A smart man learns from his own mistakes. Yeah. A wise man learns from others.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully telling these stories, we can all kind of like teach other people too, because, you know, I don't claim to be a master or someone who knows much, but learn from my PTSD, so to speak, right? Or, you know, I've had situations where I was trying to maybe impress a friend and I escalated a situation that I shouldn't have escalated. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, I'm not doing that again." Right? So like you got to think about that stuff. And some people, I mean, maybe they never get into situations like that, but a situation, I've talked about this on one of my other channels, but one time, like 4 like big white guys tried to fight me in a bar. And you know what I did? I let one guy push me and then they never attacked me again. One guy pushed me and I let him push me, and then I just like kept walking. They didn't chase after me or anything because they were probably scared too. They were racist white guys, so they probably thought I knew Kung Fu, which I did. But that was the best thing. All he did was push me. He didn't even hurt me. He just pushed me. And I was like, okay. And I just kept walking. And then they didn't chase after me. They didn't. In fact, I think I saw one of the guys later because he went to the same gym I did. I can tell in his mind he felt so bad because he wasn't – he might have actually been the guy that pushed me, but he like actually tried to talk to me and try to be friends with me. I think that was the same guy. I could be racist too. So maybe I got 2 white guys who look similar.
All white guys look the same.
Yeah, all white guys look the same. But they were like usually at the gym you don't like make friends with, but he was trying to make friends with me. I was like, I think I know why, because you were that same guy trying to fight me in the bar. You know, you get drunk and you know you do stupid stuff, right? But like, that's a perfect story. Like, I'm glad I did what I did. If socially I looked bad, oh my God, these 4 white guys, they're bullying this Asian guy. He made himself look bad. He didn't hit all of them in the face. But yeah, if I try to hit them one guy was a gym coach too, man. He's a bodybuilder. You want me to fight that guy? I'm not fighting that guy. I didn't know any jiu-jitsu back then. You know, I'm not fighting these 4 guys. But like,
and even with jiu-jitsu, you want to fight 4 dudes?
Yeah, exactly. Even with jiu-jitsu and judo and wrestling and catch wrestling, I want to fight 4 dudes. No, absolutely not. But like, see, that's an example of social training, right? I knew, go home. If people in the bar are laughing, I go home safe. I'm not going to care. In fact, probably, even though I think the people in the bar might be laughing at me, they're actually looking at those 4 racist white guys and be like, fuck you guys. What are you guys doing? Right? You're using your size advantage and number advantage to just like start stuff with this random guy. Like usually when I go to bars, I'm being nice to everyone. I'm friends with everyone there. So everyone in the bar was like, and when I was walking out, people were like, dude, what's up, man? See you later. They were being nice to me. So they saw it all and they were like, screw these guys, right? So like, besides learning when to ignore social cues. You also have to know that like half the time we don't know what the social cues are. We have an interpretation of the social world that's not even correct, man, right? The majority of people aren't even judging you. They're so deep down in heart in their minds afraid of being judged that's how they walk around. They're not judging you. They're afraid of being judged. So half the time you think everyone's looking at you. They're not looking at you and judging you. They're looking at you and judging themselves.
What's the number one fear? Public speaking,
Yeah,
right?
public speaking.
Because just standing up on stage and having everyone stare at you terrifies most people.
Yeah.
And I got over that young. You know, I did the stuff in elementary school, but when I was doing Chinese Kung Fu with my first school, we did performances, I did competitions. I had to get over that quick. Because if you're on stage trying to perform and you're freaking nervous and you're shaking and your legs are shaking, it's going to be a shit performance.
Yeah.
You have to be calm and just relax and center yourself. And again, that's why I love Tai Chi.
Yeah. And going back to Tai Chi, when you wake up in the morning, is that what you're doing? You do a little Tai Chi, you do a little Tai Chi before bed, or how is your practice regimen in Tai Chi?
My teacher told me I have to perform the primary form of Chen style, the Chen style Lao Jia Ilu. He said, you got to do that 7 times minimum every day.
Ooh.
So I try to get up and I do it for about 45 minutes, an hour. It's not quite 7 times, but that is all I can fit in. I practice Tai Chi constantly. Like whenever I have a break at work, I kind of like try to find a room that's empty, or I go outside and just do standing meditation or like some basic Qigong, just relax. You know, when you're at work all day, it sucks. Especially with COVID, all this crap, you're wearing a mask all day. It's just, you just feel bad and it's not good. So you go outside, relax, calm down, get back, and then you can come back in. So Tai Chi is something, once you get into it, it never ends. Like you're always practicing. Just when you're walking, Tai Chi is something that you can be practicing. Because most people, they walk by throwing their weight and falling forward, right?
Yeah. Tai
Chi, we focus on lowering your center, and then when I step forward, I don't change my height. I'm more gliding. I'm gliding as much as possible because changing your height uses energy. Yeah. So I'm about conservation of energy.
Dude, I love it. Like girls who've been dancers, some of them walk in a gliding way, and it's the sexiest thing, man. A guy walking a gliding way, I don't know, but I could say for any girl that does Tai Chi or dances and it changes the way you walk, it's so sexy.
Very good point. Very good point.
And I was going to ask you about this too. So on Tai Chi, you say activate your superpowers. Do people ever kind of like get that confused and come in and be like, yo, man, can you make me fly? And the reason I'm asking this is because when I used to do Kung Fu in middle school, back when all those crazy movies were first coming to America, people kept asking me, Jerry, can you run on the walls? I was like, no, I can't run on the wall. So like, tell me about activate your superpowers, how you came up with that slogan, and then do people misinterpret it?
Yeah, well, I imagine a lot of people misinterpret it. But the people that come to class, they see that it's an intriguing pull, right? It kind of, what do you mean superpower? I have superpowers? Well, the difference between someone who's trained and someone who's not trained is a superpower. I've seen, I love Yako and Joe Rogan, and they talk about jiu-jitsu. It's a superpower. Yeah. When you have jiu-jitsu, like you become calm, you become more like confident. You can go anywhere and you don't feel like you're going to get attacked. Yeah. Even if you get attacked, you know what to do. So it's no big deal. Yeah. So you can just relax wherever you go. Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of self-defense practice gives you that, like wherever I go, I feel safe. Yeah. Because I've gone through a lot of these scenarios. In Tai Chi, because we're doing all these centering practices and your breathing practices, when you get your breathing under really good control and you can just relax and get full breaths almost every single time, all the ego, all the crap that's bothering you all the time, that goes away. That dissolves. And when you can dissolve the stuff that's bothering you, the stress, that is a superpower in my opinion. Yeah, but there's a lot more to it. Yeah, like gliding and holding your posture, holding one leg without moving for 30 seconds a minute. A lot of people can't even do 10 seconds. Yeah. You know, these are they're skills and abilities that you can develop that are trained. And have you read about the old Tai Chi masters? The reason Tai Chi is considered one of the greatest martial arts in history, even though
inform me, man. Tell me.
Modern day. Okay, well, Cenfong, he was the founder of Tai Chi. he spent his life basically living on a mountain by himself as a hermit. He had to resist tigers and capture snakes, forage for his own food, and just survive out in the wilderness. And Tai Chi was the thing that helped him. And when he founded the Wudong school, he just taught 13 postures, 8 techniques, and 5 directions. Wow. Really simple stuff, but from that core basis, all this other Tai Chi family styles and branches came out. And Qigong has developed a lot, and Tai Chi has developed a lot since back in the 13th century. But it's ancient practices that help people survive in the wilderness. And one of my favorite stories was Yang Luchan, the guy who founded the Yang style. When he was going to Beijing and showing off the Tai Chi and how powerful it was, if someone wanted to fight him, he would say, you get 3 moves. You can attack me any way you want. I'll just stand here and accept it. And he would receive their move and bounce them off or throw them to the ground, whatever it was. He would just relax and take it. Yeah. Sometimes he would just get kicked and bounce it off and they'd fall down, because that was the high level skill he had developed. That basically a superpower. Like, oh, I'm invincible. Holy crap. I just figured this out.
It totally makes sense thinking about it, because, for example, most people who might challenge him don't even know how to kick right or punch right, right? So yes, if you don't know how to kick right, you don't know how to punch right, you might actually hurt yourself hitting someone. It's totally true. So like thinking of it from that angle, yes, it does feel like he has a superpower. But no, it's not necessarily that he actually is like doing anything different. He just understands his own body. He understands your body, and he understands a little bit of physics and body mechanics. So interesting to think about that.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. I love so one of the things I love about traditional martial arts is because I got to, by studying Tai Chi, you're considered a practicing Taoist, right? So just practicing Tai Chi, it's like, oh, I'm practicing Taoism itself, because this is a philosophy, and when you're practicing Tai Chi, you're practicing this philosophy.
Yeah.
And so learning about ancient philosophy really taught me a lot about the development of science over the last few 100,000 years, or few hundred and thousands of years. And well, I'm an engineer by trade, and so I'm big into science, big into technology, and I just the simple principles of like the 5 elements, cycle of creation and destruction, the 8 trigrams, about how like the mountains balance the marsh, heaven balances earth, that kind of stuff. I was like, oh wow, seeing it from a perspective of I'm just staring at the water, I'm just staring at the forest, and trying to understand what's going on here. It's so concise, and it seems simple, but it becomes so like natural. Like they're really just trying to study nature and understand it. And so that was one of the big things that kept me into Tai Chi, was like, it's just the practice of natural movement, the practice of natural skills. One of the things I say is when you start learning Tai Chi, you'll learn how to stand, sit, breathe, and walk. So finally learned it. Come on over and learn with me.
You know, I personally didn't even really learn to breathe until 2018, because I was a mouth breather for many years. I didn't realize that, no, there's a way to make it so you never mouth breathe. And what you do is you push your tongue to the top, the entire tongue. You push your entire tongue to the top of the roof of your mouth, because then what it does is it literally shuts off whatever muscle that makes you mouth breathe. So I stopped mouth breathing after 2018 because I put my tongue up there.
Congratulations.
Right? Like that is exactly like, this is stuff that Tai Chi teaches you. Proprioception, right? Awareness of body position and breathing. Breathing is a little bit more than proprioception, but it teaches you all this stuff. Most people, I know jiu-jitsu guys who don't breathe correctly. They're talking to me and then do a catch breath, right? Catch breath. You know, that's a sign that you're not breathing correctly.
Good point. Yeah. No, that's definitely true. I thought that. So I did a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I did traditional Jiu-Jitsu for about 6 months. Yeah, they never talked about breathing. They didn't really talk about body alignment and all that stuff. They kind of just like, okay, this is how you fall. This is how to do a roll. Okay, let me throw you. And then like now we just keep going. And I feel like a lot of the martial arts kind of skip the very, very basics. And that was one of the other things that I loved about Tai Chi is, no, we start from the absolute, do you know how to stand straight? Can you stand for 3 minutes without having to take a step?
You know, to fix my knee, right, I had to learn that hyperextending the knee is okay, because my knees naturally hyperextend. So it's okay to hyperextend my knee if that's what's natural in my body. So like I didn't even know how to stand correctly because most people in this world weren't as flexible as I was in the knee. So most people don't hyperextend their knee when they stand. But it's okay for me to hyperextend. You know why? Because my knees were born that way. I just, my knees have a 3 -3 hyperextension. So I think that's about, my knees can hyperextend by 30 degrees, I believe. So, that's different than most people, right? And
so when you get into a leg lock, you're like, bitch, you got nothing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's honestly why my injury from the leg actually came from funny enough, a heel hook that wasn't done properly. So it cranked instead of cranking, heel hooks do crank the knee, but it cranked my knee in a way that a heel hook was not supposed to crank. But I think the reason why I actually, I got healed, even though in my mind I didn't get healed and I developed the imbalance, but the reason it healed was because my knees are very flexible. I really had nothing to worry about, even though it hurt. When he cranked it on, it hurt. But nothing broke, man. It was just a little bit of a tendon pull, right? And I just freaked out, but then I should have realized that no, my knee's actually really flexible compared to most people's knees.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and because I psyched myself out, my right knee spent many years not being as flexible. So I'm literally half my recovery now is spending the time kind of getting my knee back to -3, my right knee back to -3 hyperextension.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting point. Back when I was in high school, I played badminton. And I would take the racket and go all the way back. And because my shoulders were basically double jointed.
Yeah.
And then I got into martial arts and I went to a jiu-jitsu, a meetup kind of thing back in the old days. You remember Bullshido? You ever go on that website?
Yes.
So they had the Bullshido meetups. So I went to one of those and got into a grappling match, and the guy tried to do a Kimura. Yeah, Kimura. Yeah. And he just couldn't get it because my shoulder was so flexible that there was nothing he could do. And I was just like, I'm fine, man. You don't have it. And I just said, just keep trying. Get it. Go ahead. Keep trying it. Couldn't get it. And then I thought to myself, if I go into a jiu-jitsu school and I practice for a number of years and people just keep cranking on a joint and getting it to those kind of extreme points, it's probably going to be bad in the long run.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stressing your joint to its absolute utmost, consistently.
Yeah.
But I am double jointed. I am one of those lucky people who can touch their finger to the back of their hand.
I used to be able to do that. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. So back in ninjutsu, one of the things I thought was cool was they taught us finger locks. And I was like, that was the first time anyone ever showed me how to do a finger lock. And then they did it to me. I'm like, it doesn't work, dude. What are you talking about? Yeah. It's just oh, no. And then I did it to them. They're like, oh, my God.
Yeah. I had someone do a finger lock to me, too, and it didn't work. Because my fingers used to be more flexible, too. I was like, oh, okay, all right. He literally, the way he had to turn, so I was like, by the time you're turning your body to lock my finger, you give me your back. But it was just so funny. You're right. I'm sure that stuff works on some people, but it didn't work on me back in the day. But now my fingers aren't as flexible, so probably it would work on me now.
Yeah. Well, the real trick is go to the side, not back. You go to the side, it's going to break no matter what. The joint doesn't go that way.
Yeah, just feeling it. Wow, yeah. Because from my understanding, fingers have the about the same amount of strength as a carrot, right? So that's why people don't realize you know how in zombie movies the zombies bite off the finger? You can totally bite off someone's finger. It's like biting a really hard carrot. Don't do that to people, please. Don't get sued. But
please. Do not tell people that you had bit their finger off because of this interview.
Yeah, please. Yeah, exactly. But apparently, it's literally like biting a really hard carrot, right? Some people can a really tough carrot. Some people go, right? I probably can't, but some people can go. So.
Yeah, I saw a little video of a guy who was practicing teeth kung fu, and he was literally biting bark off of trees and ripping plants out of the ground with his teeth.
Wow.
I don't see a lot of benefit in that practice. It's not that necessary to me.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I love about traditional kung fu is all the different skills that the Chinese developed over these thousands of years.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kung fu style? Just something to watch.
Oh man, that's hard. I probably like more of the eclectic stuff, the stuff that probably don't even have any real practical stuff, but I just like to see it because it's cool. there was a style that apparently Wusong, from the book Water Margin. So Wusong's the famous guy that beat up the tiger, right? He killed the tiger. But Wusong, because he kept running into trouble with the law, he kept, back in the day in ancient China, it wasn't handcuffs. It was more like a block of wood to cuff your hands.
Oh,
so your hands.
okay.
So Wusong kind of developed a style of kung fu, which of course is very impractical. But it's like, imagine if you had handcuffs, how would you fight? So there's a style of kung fu that's like completely based on if your hands were tied, how would you fight and maneuver? So I always found that one really cool, even though, again, it's probably grounded in myth, but it's still really cool to watch the person do the forms.
Good point. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Xing Yi.
Mm-hmm.
You know Xing Yi?
Yes.
Yeah, Xing Yi Tuan is awesome. I just love the concept of it. It was literally made for the battlefield. The historical or the legendary founding was by a general, and so he taught his troops, and so that they could be best in the world.
Yeah.
So Xing Yi, one of the first things they teach you is actually spear. They teach you how to use spear really early because like training the spear really trains a lot of your body mechanics, gets your strength up. And when you've probably played with staffs a little bit, when you can make them kind of bend a little bit and bang at the end, there's a lot of control there.
Yeah, exactly.
So that stuff's really good for you. But the Xing Yi, the hand style, the whole point of this is one strike, one kill. You don't got time for two. You don't got time for grappling anybody and choking them out. That's not a battlefield. You got to hit them once, and they're down, and someone else stabs them with a spear, and you move on.
Yeah.
So I always love that style, like just that concept of one strike, one kill. And then I got that again in Musashi's book of Five Rings when he talked about one cut, one kill. So just decisive, relaxed.
Yeah.
Those are the two things you got to do. You got to strike perfectly and be completely relaxed when you do it. The conundrum, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's end with this question then. What is next up for you? Tai Chi, or your other stuff? What's your plan for 2021, etc.?
2021. All right. Well, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m., we do a class that's open to the public and free for everybody. So highly recommend anyone come. It's free. Just 1 hour, great Tai Chi. We do Qigong and Tai Chi and meditation, and you get really basic foundation stuff. It's not confusing. I'm not trying to teach you, all right, you're going to hold the ball, you're going to take a step and open. That's about as far as I go with like traditional Tai Chi movements. The rest is just pure basics. My teacher is expanding his business, and we're going to be doing more private lessons and corporate work. So hopefully I can, get some more lessons in the afternoon on Zoom. That'd be kind of fun. So that's the goal for right now, is just to get back into the private lessons and then to Zoom class lessons right now. Man, COVID sucks, right?
Yeah.
You're up in San Francisco, right?
I'm in LA.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've heard LA got hit pretty bad.
Yeah, hit pretty bad. So
I'm
training mostly in the park and on the beach. The gyms are all closed here. So.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, stay outside. That's awesome. You're training at the beach. That's cool. I lived in LA for a number of years. I went to the beach like 5 times because it was a pain in the ass.
Totally.
You must live near it. So, yeah, man. Just keep on keeping on. Keep the private lessons coming. We do interviews on our channel as well. We love this stuff. Just talking about martial arts and self-defense. Great
cool.
Topic.
Yeah. In the future, when I have time, I'll come on your channel too.
Love to have you, Jerry. That'd be great.
Cool. Sounds good, man. So this was great. This was Andrew from Tai Chi. And what is the other one? I totally forgot your other thing.
Circulation Solutions is my private little business where I help people with their health by stimulating their blood flow.
Nice.
The river of life is the most important thing to keep flowing.
Totally, man.
Just like water. If blood pools, like diabetics have this problem. They get a lot of blood pooling in their feet and hands, and then they go numb after a few years. If you can stimulate the blood and keep it going, you can prevent that stuff. You can prevent the neuropathy. You can prevent the gangrene, and you can heal yourself. You don't have to, of course, go to your doctor, get the best science and medical advice you can, but you can literally heal yourself. People who have been on the deathbed, the doctors say there's nothing you can do. They start doing Qigong and Tai Chi, and They're fine.
Yeah.
It was just something in there that no specific drug could address because it's
exactly.
a general system problem.
Yeah, a system problem. Like fix your diet, fix a lot of your posture, your imbalances. And I talk about this a lot. Fix your toilet posture too. Sitting's the worst thing. So like get a lily pad or a squatty potty or something. Like these are all things like they address, like you said, system problems. So yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So
yeah, squatty potty.
yeah, go check it out, man. Again, I'm not endorsed by them at all, but I use a lily pad in my bathroom. So
all right, cool.
Yeah. So this was Fight Commentary Breakdowns.
Yeah.
And this probably go on Fight Commentary Chats. And Andrew, this is really cool. Great conversation. And let's definitely continue this off platform. And, you know, when the time comes, I'll come on your channel too.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jerry. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew.